mature organizations, everybody has KPIs that they're responsible for. A sales rep's KPI is the number of deals they closed per month. Software developers' work quality is measured by the number of bugs in their code. Project managers monitor the level of happiness in their clients' feedback. And what KPIs are content writers responsible for? Let's find out. Hi there, my name is Katerina. Every week I share useful tips and insights on content marketing and writing with writers, marketing managers, and business owners. Today we'll talk about KPIs, a topic that might interest marketing managers and content writers themselves. Now you might tell me a content writer's job title doesn't imply numbers, and content quality is subjective. Let's make it clear for a second. We are not talking about marketing KPIs here. Your content writers are only a little guilty for that embarrassing number of leads that you got last month. As a marketing manager, you're the one to blame, not your content writers. If content writers are not responsible for MQL, SQL, CPL, and website traffic, then what are their KPIs? And do they need KPIs at all? Are you skeptical about numbers? They're actually a lot more human than you may think. Setting KPIs for your content writers doesn't only help you measure their performance, it can help you strengthen their morale and foster their professional growth. Here are 3 benefits that you get by setting KPIs for your content writers. Accountability. By tracking KPIs, you acknowledge your writers' hard work and make them feel responsible and accountable for the success of your entire content marketing team's effort. Ownership. When writers hit the numbers you've set, they get the sense of ownership of their work and are more willing to push harder. Learning. Monitoring KPIs allows you to create an environment of learning. With clearly defined targets, your writers know what they're supposed to achieve, and with every success and failure, they better understand how to achieve it. In other words, KPIs create a space for growth for your content writers. So what are these KPIs? Every marketer knows. The more you tell, the more you sell. This is especially true in the content marketing context. The more content you publish, the more connections you can generate with your target audience. But here's a tricky question. Does a ton of content published on your website guarantee lead generation? No, it doesn't. A ton of well-written content that hits on specific challenges of your target audience and stimulates the desired action from your readers does. Poorly written content, even in tons, doesn't have the ability to turn the readers into leads. Even worse, it's a serious credibility killer. Content writers are responsible for writing high-quality content. How do you measure quality? Average time on page. This metric shows how much time readers spend on a page before they move on to the next page or leave the website. If this time is long, it means that readers find your content engaging. What's a good average time on page benchmark? It varies depending on the industry, audience, type of content, its length, and more. But it's safe to assume that if your average time on page is only 10 seconds for a lengthy blog post, it means that people aren't reading this blog post. In the software development industry, the average time on page should be at least 2-3 minutes, but you can always play with this metric. If, for example, your average time on page is 2 minutes, you can set a target to increase it to 3 minutes. To hit this target, you can start making adjustments to your content and measuring how your time on page changes with every new tweak, and if it does at all. Scroll depth. Scroll depth allows you to measure how far your visitors scroll down a page. It gives you insight into how long your content is holding the attention of your readers. If, for example, 20% of a page's visitors scroll down to the bottom of the page and more than 60% read half of it, you can rest assured that your content has all the goodies that your audience wants. And if, on the other hand, 80% of your page's visitors stop at around 50% mark, you can start thinking about what you can improve in your content. Can you pull them down a little further by adding an example, an interesting story, an image? Or can you put a link to related content? What about the call to action? Measuring scroll depth allows you to decide where to put your CTA. A common sense approach is to put a CTA in a place where your prospects will be ready to take action. In other words, a CTA needs to align with the user's experience. For example, you want to put a free trial button in a spot where your readers will find it after reading about your product, not before. as it would make no sense for a reader to try a product they know nothing about. But what if the most important information about your product and the CTA are placed at the bottom of the page, where 95% of your audience won't even scroll to? When you start measuring your scroll depth, I bet it will tell you that your most important stuff needs to be above the fold, or people won't see it. If they're going to stop reading anyway, you want them to move to the next page on your website or do something valuable from the marketing perspective. Download a lead magnet, subscribe to your email list, share something to Twitter. My advice is to test CTA placement and experiment with how your content is presented to increase the scroll depth. Pages per session. The longer someone stays on your website and the more pages they click through during their visit, the more they learn about you and your business. You want to increase pages per session of the average number of pages a website visitor views in a given session. To make sure people are sticking around and learning more about your company, your content needs to have clear calls to action, internal links to other relevant content on your website, a well-designed layout and navigation, and a fixed menu. But most importantly, your content needs to be great to keep your readers wanting more. Click-through rate. When your page starts ranking at the top of Google's search results, you want to make sure your click-through rates are where they need to be. A click-through rate is a ratio of users who click on the link in Google's search results while searching for a particular keyword or keyword phrase to the total number of views that a page gets. An average click-through rate is between 3 to 5%. If you could do more, that could be considered a good click-through rate. There are 3 things that impact CTR the most: search intent, SEO title, and meta description. Search intent. One of the main reasons why content underperforms on Google is because there is a mismatch between your keywords and the search intent. If you want to target a certain keyword, but the information you provide doesn't match with your reader's search intent, people will find your content irrelevant and won't click on it. I have a video about search intent for content writers. You can check it out to learn more about the types of search intent, how to define the search intent for your target keyword, and how to pick out the right keywords to target with your content. I'll link to this video at the end of this one. SEO title. SEO title is the first thing that people see in the search results. You want your SEO title to be catchy and descriptive. It needs to stand out among other titles. Use power words and an emotional feel with sensory words. Use numbers. There are many methods you can experiment with to make your SEO titles irresistible. Meta description. Your meta description needs to include the keywords you are targeting and tell people exactly what to expect from your content. Email subscribers. Of course, people subscribe to blogs that interest them. By tracking where people subscribe and how many of them do, you can define which content provides more value to your readers. We are through with content quality metrics, but there is one more KPI that you need to measure the performance of your content writers: the number of content pieces. Let's assume that we are only talking about the number of high-quality content pieces, the ones that get published. To write high-quality content, a writer needs to spend time. The more time they spend, the fewer articles you get. But let me ask you a question. If a writer can write high-quality content without spending that much time on it, what does it say about their professional level? One thing, he or she is a good writer and a great researcher, by the way. How many high-quality content pieces can a good writer write per month? From my experience in the software development industry, the maximum number of lengthy content pieces, somewhere between 1,500 and 3,000 words, that a good writer can write per month is 8. A more realistic number is 6. You might think that writing 6 pieces for an experienced writer is easy, but I wouldn't say that. Writing in-depth content requires a lot of research. Thorough research takes time. But writing continually for a specific industry and business results in faster work and better results over time. That's why I believe you should hire in-house writers and not freelance writers. I made the video about it. You can check it out at the end of this video. So there you have it. KPIs for a content writer: average time on page, scroll depth, pages per session, click-through rate, email subscribers, the number of content pieces. That's it for now. What metrics have I missed? Let me know in the comments below. I'll see you next time with a new video. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Я Катерина. Пока-пока.